Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we cover a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Blue Marvel, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
Hanging out. Tom.
Hey, Tom, how's it going? How is everybody today? Let's start with Tom. How are you doing today?
Oh, just ducky.
That's good to hear. How about you, Brad? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just fabulous.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. How about you, Brandon? How are you doing?
Doing pretty well, Fred. How are you doing?
I'm exhausted, but that's neither here nor there.
It is well past your bedtime.
It's getting close. For those of you listening, Steven will be joining us, but he'll be on mute because he is driving at the moment. So, he will be present. You can tell by his energy that he'll be here. He'll be here in spirit. And otherwise, we're recording on an off day, and I had a rough day at work, so my energy's gonna be all weird today. Oh well.
And that's unusual?
If you can't tell from the first minute of the podcast here.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's begin by talking about upcoming events as I pull those up on the calendar. Okay, so coming up in January, on January the 8th, that is a Thursday, there's going to be a demo day at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. The demo day is going to be Brad running it, but I will be present as well. And if you know of anybody who is interested in playing this game or learning how it works or just seeing how the game sort of runs on a tabletop, send them our way. We want to see them. We want to play with other people. We want to get more people involved in this game that we all love. So that is on January the 8th. Then, coming up on the 17th of January, there is a tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. This is going to be a small affair. This is just a local tournament, but we would be happy to have anybody come and join us. We always like having people play who we don't know. We always enjoy a bigger event, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I understand the reality of the situation. Nobody wants to drive to Charleston, West Virginia to play in a small tournament. Then, on the 24th of January, there is a tournament at Old School Games in Toledo, Ohio. This is going to be the Old School Games Appalachian Cup qualifying event, and it is currently sold out. However, we have been told that it is likely that some of the people who are currently signed up will not be able to make it.
That's why there's a wait list.
Yes, there's a wait list currently for it, and if you end up in a good position on the wait list, head on over there. You will likely get a spot in the tournament. I myself will not be able to do that. Toledo is very far away, and I'm not able to go and hope for the best that far of a distance. But if you live closer to Toledo, Ohio, I wish you luck. May the dice roll in your favor. And then the following month, on February the 21st, is the Lost Legion Games and Comics Appalachian Cup qualifying event. This will be much bigger than our local tournaments. Hopefully, we will sell the place out. Our limit is 32 people, so I want to see 31 other people show up, other than me. That would be fantastic.
Well, I'll be there, Fred.
Yeah, you're one of the 31 people.
And if you're listening to this and you're not currently on this podcast, registration's open. Go sign up.
Yeah, what he said. Okay, so those are the upcoming events.
Well, isn't Bryce running a team event too at the end of February?
I'm sure that he is. I am not that far forward in February in my calendar. I guess I did do a February 21st.
You did, and I think the week after,
I did.
Bryce is running the team event in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Okay.
We
What is it the 28th?
Probably. I
Okay.
had all the date in front of me, but I assume it's a Saturday.
Okay. I'll find out, and on the next record, it will have the correct date. But it's probably on the 28th. That is at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, run by Bryce. This is a very good store. You should show up because Bryce runs good events. Okay, there's my fast pitch. Did you say it was what
It's a
was the?
three-man team event, and I believe it's Highlander for characters, open for tactic, and open for crisis cards.
Okay. Open for tactics cards, so anyone can have the tactics cards they want. They just can't have overlapping characters.
As far as I know for this one, I think
Okay.
it's still in flux because of the crisis changes and all that kind of stuff. Previously, it was going to be a full Highlander, I think, with just tactic cards. Okay, but I believe with the current status, you can't do Highlander on crises, obviously.
Yeah, because I think there's fewer than 15
Yes,
Yeah.
of either type of crisis. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
but if anyone other has not done a team event, they are really fun.
I never have.
They are really
I'm
fun. It changes the whole way you approach the game.
Yeah. We're gonna have to work something out. That would be fun to attend. Oh, okay. We have to figure that out in the future. That'll be for next week's Fred to figure out. Until then, let's talk about games that we've played recently. So, to lift the veil just a little bit, we're recording this very soon after the one we recorded the last week's episode. So, I myself have not had a chance to play any new games since I last spoke about that. Uh, I'm assuming that is still the case for Brandon and for Brad,
I played
although I
3
could be
games
wrong.
since last time, Fred.
I can always tell when you're lying.
No, you
Because
can't.
what you
Do
say
not
is
lie.
You definitely can't. We're not letting that slide. You definitely cannot tell.
I get away
You're
with lying
correct.
to Fred all the time. But this time he caught me.
However, Tom, have you played any games recently that you would like to discuss on the podcast?
Yeah. So since the crisis changes, I haven't had a ton of time to play, but I've actually gotten a couple random Sundays or random days in with Savage recently because he's been back in town. So we've been playing a few games. Um, I think more than talking about the individual games, I was going to talk a little bit about what I've seen in the changes because it has kind of shifted my view on where the current meta is. So for those of you who have like either known me from the tournaments or games recently, I was playing a lot of Inhumans and was really enjoying them. They played very specific, if you know your Black Bolt openers, very specific power economy games where you have very complicated setups in the beginning and then you just kind of push your way through to the end. I have found that playstyle very difficult in the current setup. Not knowing specifically whether you're going first or second really seems to play odd with Black Bolt's traditional leadership methodology. Um, so what I think it's pushed me towards is playing more attrition based, which I've had more success with a Sam and Doctor Strange Avengers Defenders duel. Um, it's just a weird way the game has shaped, and I didn't recognize it before the changes, what it would kind of create. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that, but that's something I've noticed because the game is not so scripted turn one. It's much more of an open brawl, and I almost feel like it's added an extra round to my games.
Interesting. So I have started playing Inhumans very recently. Recently enough that I think that I have more games with Inhumans using the new rules than I did with the old rules. And obviously that means that I have not noticed this level of change, but also I don't have the same deep understanding of the way that Inhumans function on the table. So I guess my question is the the way that these first turns play out. I understand what you're saying is you set up assuming that you're going to go first, but then if you don't go first, that completely changes the way that your setup plays out, do you think that Inhumans are specifically vulnerable to this shift, or is there some other thing that's going on?
I think Inhumans specifically are oddly enough very, very tested in this new methodology of Prio. So Black Bolt has always been a Rube Goldberg round one, and that sets up your plan for the rest of the game. You really go through a lot of planning on, okay, I have this many models, I have this much power to spend in my turn one, and I have this many actions to move power around. And that was the basis for playing Inhumans with Prio or without Prio, because you know what your plan is going into what your opponent does. This variability, I think, has really kind of screwed up the way that you approach the game with Black Bolt. You can have more than one plan, but you're playing it suboptimally based upon what you previously would have. And if you look at tournament stats since the change, Inhumans have tanked in terms of win rates because I think they're much less adaptable on the fly in the current or the previous methodology to the gameplay. So this could be the situation where they just, everyone's reacclimating to how the crises work. But it's a really interesting change that I wasn't expecting to be so prominent going into the changes AMG announced.
I do understand what you're saying. Like, I played a game against Borka where I had this really complicated idea where I would have both Gorgon and Baron Zemo get charges off, having both been teleported by the dog. And that would mean that they would both get 2 full attack actions in round 1 against their target. And it basically took all of my actions to make that happen. Like, Karnak had to move forward and meditate to generate enough power for that to be the case. And so he was basically out of position for round 2. And then I had to... All my power was spoken for. And then it didn't even work all that well. Like,
correct.
So...
It's really easy to look at Black Bolt's leadership and like Lockjaw and say, I'm going to do 15 different things. And unfortunately, none of them pick up a point. So you have to be really careful with that power economy early on, depending on what your prices you're on. And I just feel like that's exasperated by the fact that now I don't know whether I'm going for my Prio play or my non-Prio play.
Okay. So what would you suggest is a good course of action for people who are trying to learn how to play Inhumans?
Well, yeah. So that's a good question. So
what a self-serving question.
It is absolutely a self-serving question. I want to know the answer.
Well, I think so. Prior to coming on to this podcast, we talked a little bit about matchups, and I think Inhumans is an interesting one to think of how your matchup works, and you have to think really hard about what you're trying to accomplish with a little bit of variability set into the crisis setup of the way there wasn't before. So when I'm looking at my Inhumans list, I am generally playing a very crisis-oriented, scenario-based list that just has to score out by top of 4-ish, or else I cannot win the attrition game because the models I'm bringing, generally, they can hit pretty hard, but they can't take a lot of hits. Even Black Bolt, his backside is fairly tanky, obviously, with his defensive tech and his high HP pool, but his front side isn't really that tanky, and you're using Bodyguard to take HP off of it. Gorgon's a 6'5", 3-threat. Karnak's a 5'5". The dog is a 6'5". Like, you don't have a ton of tanking ability, and when you're playing that heavy crisis-based Inhumans, you're usually splashing in maybe like a Black Cat or a Miles or models that are also just trying to win you the scenario game. And the secret to beating them always was to punch them in the face as fast as possible. And I think a lot of people got taken aback because those openings to grab the crises and grab the extracts were so aggressive that they could then bunker, and you would have to move into those bunkers to win the game. It's much harder for Bolt, for example, to set those up with his current game plans because you have to have a better counter strategy to your opponent now having the extra advantage or a lead that you would have had previously. So it just changes the way you think about them. So when you're looking at a list like Inhumans, it's a lot of it's about what am I trying to do with my list that I can do better than my opponent's list. And I think Inhumans have some interesting points to them still. It just changes how I approach Black Bolt in particular with that kind of variability. Um, One thing I think Max is probably a better flex leader now. Like I think there's situations where you really want to bring Max. Um, that being said, I don't know if a Max Bolt duel really makes sense. Um, it's one of those things where like whenever I make a roster, I try to think what can my roster do better than the general field, and what am I advantaged into, and then with my splash, how do I address the things I'm weak towards? So with Inhuman specifically, I was a high scenario threat team where I would try to get as many VPs as possible, as quickly as possible, whether or not I had prio or not prio. But that would determine whether I'm bringing, say, a voodoo who I could power up for multiple activations before doing things, or if I need to take a Quicksilver to try to take your extracts first. You couldn't always play Quicksilver and um, voodoo together because you had too many support pieces. So you kind of made that choice during your squad selection, which is not something you can do currently very easily. So I think it just introduces a lot more thought process into what you're going to try to bring. And I don't know whether the current that hyper focus extract list will work the same way over time because you're ultimately a lot of the time going to go second and then get punched in the face harder. And I think
Yeah.
that's always been their big weakness. So I think it's an interesting point. I'm going to have to add more attrition to the list. I was trying a couple different things. Um, Actually, I was trying to drop Dracula from my list, but I think he's made his way back because he plays really into going first or second. As an Inhuman player, I think you're still trying to focus on civilian extracts, but I don't know. It's open to me because I'm not quite sure yet.
Okay, so I'm looking for, and Brad is going to hate what I'm about to say, but I'm looking for an excuse to drop Black Bolt's 5 threat Black Bolt entirely from the roster and just play Mads Mikkelsen. Nope, that's not his name. Maximus the Mad. Just play Maximus the Mad's leadership
Sure.
and King Black Bolt. Is this the excuse that I need to just do that? To just pull the trigger on?
I think it's a great idea. I think. Well, let me ask you this: when you're looking at Max's leadership, what
Mhm.
are what are the models you're bringing that say, "Hey, I'm using Max's leadership"? Like, what are you bringing that makes him good?
King Black Bolt is probably the first thing that I grab. Uh, is that incorrect? The silence is devastating.
You tell me. What is he getting out of the leadership?
What is he gets a one reroll at the very beginning of his activate during his first attack, and that might not even be uh all the attacks that action because he uses a beam and it's only on the very first roll that I get a reroll.
Yeah.
And he gets a defensive reroll, which I think is a much more valuable thing on King Black Bolt. So
So
a defensive reroll every turn.
I think my concern with using King Black Bolt in this situation is it's twofold. So number one, Max is giving you rerolls. Cool. A model can only use one reroll on their turn, and then as many single rerolls on other people's turns. All makes sense. But if I'm making rerolls, wouldn't I want to maximize the number of rerolls I get to make during the course of the game?
So you're saying I should play wider. I
I
should
think
play
so.
not a 6 threat.
I think so. So King Black Bolt's a really cool model, but he's using a beam as his basic attack. Of all the models I can think of, if I roll a skull, I don't want them to reposition my beam models.
Oh, very good point. Very
So
good point.
I think that's a little rough. And again, he might still work. He's still a good model, but these are the things I would be thinking about. Um, my personal favorite model for a max base list is Logan. I think Logan is an amazing max piece because he can sequence his after the effect places after the leadership. So he's getting the benefit of an additional reroll for his attacks, which are already brutal. And then also being able to change his own positioning.
Hmm. Okay. Logan. Interesting. A model I do not own. uh, I will have to. I will have to look into this. That is a
Good
very
thing
interesting
it's
thing to bring up.
really easy and cheap to get him.
You're right. I just have to buy the 2 model pack. There's only 2 models in that pack. How expensive could it possibly be?
I mean, that's fair. I'm actually
Spoiler.
I'm biased. Logan is my favorite character to play in this game. Not even a huge fan of him in the comics. I just genuinely like him in this game.
I mean, I get it. He rules. He's killed me so many times that I completely understand.
But I think when you're talking about utilizing a particular leader or affiliation, the first thing you need to think about is what are you actually trying to do, and what does your leadership or your affiliation do for you to do it? I think Max is a really interesting character. I think his leadership is very interesting, but I think it's the kind of thing that if you're not maximizing it, uh,
Ha,
um,
ha.
are you really getting the benefit out of it? You want to throw as many actions worth of dice in a turn to get the benefit, I think.
Okay. Okay. Well, that has certainly changed how I was looking at things. This has been a very enlightening conversation.
Well, it turns out I know about Inhumans.
Yeah.
But that being
I
said, I've found I've been having a lot more success with my games with Sam. Sam plays a very different type of game where I genuinely don't care what my plan is. Sam makes the plan a reactive one, and in the current environment, that felt really, really strong.
when we did Sam on this podcast, had
Yes,
the
I
change
cursed him.
happened?
No, I was just cursing Sam.
And so now you are playing Sam after the change has occurred.
I am.
So, uh, I mean, I don't blame you. Sam is awesome, and I think that what you just said is a very good thing that Sam brings to the table with the new rules that we're playing with.
Yeah,
So,
I think mid range slash leaning attrition is in a really good spot right now, because you get to play. You don't tend to have that many like midline grabs, but you can punish stuff on the midline or reach beyond it. And your gameplay is to get to rounds 4, 5, 6, hopefully 5 and 6. And I think they are in a good shape right now to do so with the changes.
okay, okay. And so, what does your roster look like with Sam?
I don't have it in front of me, but it
Oh,
plays.
sorry, I didn't mean to put you
No
on the
worries.
spot.
It's a Sam Strange Defenders duel. So it's Sam, Luke, Logan, because I told you I love him,
Uh,
Shane, Ronan, Doctor Strange, Namor, Wong, probably 2 other models I'm forgetting right now. I can look it up real fast. But it plays very wide Sam or King T. That's the other. That's probably the other model in it,
oh, okay.
where he gets a lot of benefit out of the leadership, obviously, because he can shake stagger when you kill his friends and gets power.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I'm assuming that the Ronin that you said is the Ronin and not
Correct.
Ronan.
Correct.
Yeah.
The goal is to play a bunch of models that have good quality attacks, um, and leverage Sam's leadership to make sure they keep getting to make them.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
And
It's
then,
just what you've described as a scary list to be up against too, because you could, if I try to counter your Sam, you could flex into defenders.
correct. And the defenders flex. Oh, it might be Iron Fist. I have to look again. It does some mean stuff at like 17, where you can run Namor, Wong, King T, and Doctor Strange on like meteors, and you have a very strong fire base and support team.
Wow, that's an interesting list.
Yeah. So it's been working really well. Uh, I will probably try it a couple more times before the tournament in January. But I think there's a lot of changes that occurred with the update where large dice pool attacks are much more common. And I think that's going to affect a lot of those high speed crisis teams, because normally a high speed crisis team is built on the idea that you can't hit them enough to before they score out. But with that lack of planning on turn one being assured, it just slows the game down enough that those big dice pools start popping off like sentinels and things.
Yeah. Okay, and yeah. Oh, you're right. It took that took me a second, but you're absolutely correct. Does I want to throw this over to the rest of the crew. I kind of have been dominating this conversation. So matchup dependency wise, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask to Tom while we have him here? I'm gonna take this silence as a no.
I don't have any questions.
Do you have a statement you would like to make?
I just want to go on the record of stating I love living in a world where nobody can make plans because my strength as a player is planning on the fly and doing what I think's best at the time.
Well, and to the point, Apocalypse is really good at playing off the cuff.
Yep.
You've got the tools because of the way your leadership works and your mobility and celestial technology that you can reposition across the board. You can change the way you're fighting. Your first turn Apocalypse movement is so massive to your ability to pressure.
Yeah.
He's in a really good spot right now, and I mean it's still showing in the results. I mean, obviously he's still very highly ranked. And it's
I mean, it
because
was
he can
it was in a
apply.
really good spot beforehand too. I think
Right.
that
Well,
it's
that's what I'm
just
saying.
still in a great spot.
The changes did very little to change your game plan with Apocalypse, whereas because he was always a more reactive affiliation in terms of rotating and putting conditions on your opponent to make sure that they cannot interact with you the same way. Whereas with Inhumans, 90% of my game plan was get ahead and then survive, and it was really effective because you could score out turns 3 or almost always in turn 4, but it's a lot harder now.
Yeah. Okay, well, this has been a very enlightening conversation. I need to make some changes to my roster, and I need to take a real hard look at what I want to bring with I cannot stop saying Mads Mikkelsen in my head. Maximus the Mad. But I think that we should move on to I think that was our segment. I think that was our segment. So let's move on to the person that we are here to cover today. That person being Blue Marvel, otherwise known as Adam Brashear. Brashar? I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
I'm pretty sure
Is that
it's
the
Sheer.
governor? Is that the governor of Kentucky?
I don't know. I don't know who the governor of Kentucky is. That is a shame. I should know who that is. I think it's Andy Brashear.
It is.
Brashear. Yeah. Adam Brashear, his defensive stats are 4, 4, and 4. He has 7 stamina on the front part of his card, but only 6 on the back. He is a threat value of 5, size of 2, and a medium mover. We also know that he is affiliated with the Mighty Avengers affiliation. We don't know what his other affiliations will be. Brad, why don't you do his attack suite?
His first energy attack is called Antimatter Blast. It is range 4, 6 dice, cost 0, gain power equal to damage dealt, and wild stun after the attack is resolved. His second energy attack is called Let Loose. It's area 2, 8 dice, costs 5, and has a crit wild energy pulse trigger. After the attack is resolved, deal 1 damage to each other enemy character within range 2 of this character. Then this character loses 1 power.
Interesting. Okay, Brandon, why don't you do his first 2 superpowers?
First superpower is an active superpower. Times up for 3 power. Choose an interactive terrain feature or enemy character, both size 4 or less, and within range 3, and throw it medium. The superpower can only be used once per turn. He has a reactive superpower that's Antimatter Barrier. For 3 power, when this character or another allied character within 3 is defending, during the modified dice step, this character may use this superpower. The defender may reroll any number of defense dice, including skull results.
And Tom, why don't you finish off the card?
You got it. So he's got some of them innate infinity powers. Hypercosmic awareness. Whenever this character rolls dice after the effect is resolved, it gains 1 power if it rolled at least 1 skull. Hey, just like Voodoo. Living antimatter reactor. When attacking, defending, or dodging, this character adds skull results to its total successes. Hey, just like Scarlet Witch. And then it has
You took
flight,
my bit.
and flight, immunity, incinerate, and stun.
Yeah. So, that's Blue Marvel, another dude who counts an extra face on the dice on almost everything. Okay, so what is everyone's first blush take on this guy? What do you think about this guy, Tom? I'm gonna throw it to you first.
Sure. I actually think this guy is going to play better on the table than he reads looking at him initially. Um, Counting skulls is one of those things that, like, all your stuff is better, but, is it as good as having invul when you get attacked? I don't know the math. But it does substantially change your damage output and your defensive tech when you get to add dice to it. And the thing that I saw when they showed this card is they said he was in the new Mighty Avengers thing, and Spectrum adds attack dice. So he is going to be doing this weird thing in that affiliation specifically, where when he rolls his attack dice, he gains, say, a power from a skull, gives it to her. On the second one, he rolls 8 for a regular builder, counting skulls. I think that moves the math from like 3 average into a def 3 into like a 4.5 average into a def 3, which is a pretty big jump. Um, and his throw is the best throw we've ever seen in the game.
What makes it the best throw we've ever? I mean, it is a size 4 terrain or character that reaches out range 3 and can throw medium.
That's it. I mean, you just named why.
It's
all right.
It's the size and the range. We've never had 4 and 3 together.
Oh, okay. We've never had 4. Because we have. Does Abomination only do range 2? Is that it?
That's terrain.
It's just terrain. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a guy who is engaging at range 3 and throwing you medium. So, like, when you look at him, he needs help moving. But he has a control that I don't know. That's an amazing control piece.
Yeah.
That's like those spenders where you hit someone and you throw them or push them medium. As a superpower. So what I think needs to be like looked at on this guy's card is that affiliation with the Mighty Avengers, when you're going to start him with, Lockjaw, have Lockjaw moving him around, Lockjaw gaining power, giving power to the rest of the team, powering up Spectrum, and then shooting people and boosting with Spectrum. Like, I think this guy is going to be one of those models on the table that the more times you add dice to his abilities, say Doctor Strange Defenders, with maybe even throwing Clea in there, you're going to start to see returns that are very solid.
There's also a decent chance he is affiliated with Defenders.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
That's why I said Strange and Clea.
Okay. I mean, this guy is. I mean, just counting skulls alone is an amazing ability, and what he brings to the table otherwise is pretty strong. I want to throw it over to Brandon. Brandon, what do you think about Blue Marvel?
I am unfortunately not a big fan of 6 health, 5 threat models. And him being 7/6 is way. I don't know how much survivability he's going to have, especially if you're wanting to use the throw a lot.
He's got that antimatter barrier, and he counts skulls. I mean, those matter.
I know, and I've played a lot of models that do these things, and he's going to be a model that is going to excite me to put on the table, and I feel like I'm kind of the opposite of where Tom's at. I think he's going to do a lot less on the table than you think he's going to do when you line him up.
Okay.
I unfortunately don't see the vision here.
I mean, I that's fair. I think that the positive take on him is that he works extremely well with Spectrum, and I get what you're saying is that maybe that doesn't add up to the same thing that we think it does.
I would argue. So I think there are certain models that, like right now, being underplayed, and I would put Scarlet Witch as an underplayed model. And it's because we got so used to the idea that every model had to be self-sufficient. I think this is the kind of model that you need to have movement support with. So, like, you know, Scarlet Witch under Sam is great. I could see Marvel being similar. It's that kind of thing where you need to supplement their ability to move around, which I think you can do because he's only size 2, so even something like a Sam could help him out. But to your point, he is going to be the kind of model that if your opponent focuses on displacing, you need to have a counter for because he's just going to be rolling dice. That being said, that throw is crazy.
Okay.
But the
I
throw
believe
also with all the throw changes isn't what it used to be either. So getting the displacement helps, but it's not as damaging if you're up in like the face, you're getting thrown around, like it's not nearly what it used to be. Like if this would have been like before, like the rules changed with the throw, like I think I'd be way more on board. It just feels a little weird. And I've played a ton of Scarlet Witch, and kind of your point of like it's really hard to invest 5 threat of character and need other models to help it be a 5 threat. That's what I don't like.
Sure. I think this throw is almost exclusively a zoning tool. I don't think you're using it for damage very often at all.
you're
It's
using it to move
basically
people out of the combat sphere.
well, it's range 3 medium throw, so it's basically a superpowered stagger.
Okay,
Every
you're getting them. They have to spend at least one action moving forward
almost
to get back
exclusively.
in. Yeah,
Yeah. And don't get me wrong,
interesting.
I agree. I don't like the fact that he's a 5 threat with a 7/6 health spread. That's the biggest issue I see with him. Is that health spread is it feels like it was designed under the old methodology, and then they have adjusted that by giving extra HP around. So I'm surprised they released him like this. Um, that being said, I think you have the tools to support him where he'll be interesting. Um, his power generation is also really cool because it's every time he rolls a skull doing anything, which if you played Voodoo, you know that's really good, and he's doing it on 4 dice consistently, or 6 dice, or even 8 dice for his spender. So,
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up. How often do you think he's using his spender? At 5 power, I guess it is area 2 with 8 dice, so there are obviously going to be circumstances where it comes up, like if there's a big clump of dudes on a wedding party, perhaps. But I mean, that is one circumstance. Do you think there are going to be a lot of games where he just never uses his spender?
I think you're going to find that he has a whole lot of power to use. When you have a 6 die builder counting skulls, and then you're also getting a skull or ever getting a power every time you roll a skull, be that with interactions, attacks, defenses, or dodges, I think you're going to find that you have the ability to use this. And I don't know how many of you guys use Agent Venom very much, but this ability to do an extra ping damage, or I think Carnage does the same, from the model during the attack, it adds up really fast.
I used to play Agent Venom pretty a lot, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and you're right. That extra ping damage, when it happens, is pretty ball busting. It
Yeah.
is on a complicated trigger. It's on a crit wild trigger, but you are rolling 8 dice to get there. I don't know what the math is. I don't have the dice calculator in front of me.
50-50.
But I want to say
It either happens or
it's
it
50.
doesn't.
Okay.
True math.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think you're only using this obviously if there's 2 to 3 targets, and when you start talking 2 to 3 targets with his dice pools, and better than average dice, it's a lot of output. So 8 dice skull into 3, like I said, is about 4 1/3, 4.5 damage. Then you're adding a single ping if you get one, so that's say 5.5 on average. That's dazing a huge chunk of models in this game.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, but
You're
it's
at
5.
you're at 45% to hit the trigger on the spender, 8 dice on the builder. Your most your best percentage is going to be 1, 2, or 3 damage going through against 3 defense dice.
I think you're forgetting the skulls. So the 8 dice into 3 is 4.37.
I did count skulls, but it may not have done it.
Because your regular 6 die into 3 is a 299 on Cerebro.
I
Again,
don't know enough about how these are calculated to be able to weigh in.
Well, this is just where like getting him extra dice or rerolls. When you have better dice quality, having better dice quality with more dice quality is good. His health pool is going to be his biggest concern, along with his mobility. But I think you can supplement both of those pretty well. And now, is he going to be a top tier 5? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be a Namor. I don't think he's going to be a Red Skull 2 or anything like that. But I think in his affiliations, he's going to be pretty interesting.
I agree. I am up on this guy. I think he's very cool. I want to see what he does on the table because I have trouble visualizing these things. I do not have the brain that works well at that. But I am excited to see what this character and what the Mighty Avengers do to set themselves apart in the current sphere.
I'll tell you.
I want to throw it to Brad. Brad, do you have anything to add? I haven't technically called on you yet, but you have spoken up some.
I think he looks fun to play, and having said that, I don't know if I'm getting this box or not.
Okay.
They're not mutants.
I was going to say, is that because they're not mutants?
They're not mutants. I may or may not buy this box. I don't know. If I come up with an idea where I want to try them, I will. He seems like the one I'm more likely to do that with. Like he has a lot of fun stuff on his card that I may want to try out.
Well, I mean, you were trying that Cyclops list. I mean, he would like Field Leader, or if you want to play Storm, he loves being able to hop.
Yeah. And doesn't hurt to give him extra power either with Cyclops. So I don't know.
Well, I think he'd be giving a lot of power to the team.
Well, yes, that too. Yes. He will consistently get damage through. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. There is a tactics card that we should talk about. Are there more than just the one? I got burned the last week. Okay. Okay. Well, the one tactics card that is associated with Blue Marvel is called the Man of Marvels. It is a Mighty Avengers active tactics card. During Blue Marvel's activation, he may spend 3 power to play this card. Blue Marvel and each other allied character within range 3 may choose one of the following effects. Antimatter Healing. That character removes up to 2 damage from itself. Energy Creation. That character gains 1 power. Particle Manipulation. Place that character within range 1 of its current position. Okay, so what does everyone think about this tactics card? I'm going to throw it to Tom first. Tom, what do you think about this?
I think it might have play. So, again, I'm thinking about it within the context of his affiliation. So, getting the 3 power round 1 if you have 1 shot is pretty trivial between the leadership and his attack suite. And if you position your models correctly, you would be basically at the end of your activation, hopefully giving the majority of your team 1 extra power, which means they start with 1 extra power for the next turn, which would turn on all your like charges and stuff like that, or Monica's dice booster for round 2 to begin with. It's like it's the potential being a delayed like Captain America turn 1, right? Where if you build for it and you've got a bunch of models with like 2 cost charges or 2 cost abilities, I think you can get a lot of play out of the card. Healing's fine, but it's hard to time.
Yeah, and the place is within range 1 of its current position. That is very good in certain circumstances, but it's not going to throw you really far up the field.
Yeah, I don't know where you would really use that except for there's some weird cases on lockdown where you can bump larger bases between 2 points that they don't reach normally.
Okay.
It could also help with something like Mayor Fisk or Wedding Party because they move, and you could use it as a one-time move back to the point.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the planning around it would be I'm trying to get my team power round one
Yeah.
into round two.
Yeah.
I think that's the play that I see with it. I mean, there
It-
might be something if you play the game a lot and like you're like I like cubes with this list that you then want to use antimatter healing because with cubes, like with a power leadership that you're already moving stuff around, getting the extra power on your models might be worthwhile if you can heal. Don't know.
You can also hold on. Let me make sure this works like I think it does. Oh no, you could use it and put 2 power on one person with the leadership, and
Yes,
yeah, but you couldn't
and
put
I think
all that power on one person. That would be good.
no, right. No, I think you're using it similar to just setting up your round two really strong.
Yeah.
Like setting up a delayed charge team, or again, every power you give to Monica is going to come back to you in a good way because of her ability to support with the damage dice, which is range 4 for some reason.
mhm.
So the moment you do this and then you pop it to her and then start with Blue Marble on round 2 and he gets his first 8 die builder off, you're feeling probably pretty good about it.
We're getting some phantom. I think that is Steven on his line. We're getting a little bit of phantom noise. That's okay. Um, well, I think that this card it does cover the things that Blue Marvel is lacking, like movement and healing himself. But I think that those are the effects that you don't want to use um, to Tom's point, and I I'm not convinced to take this card. And we were discussing much stronger options in the Mighty Avengers leadership, tactics card wise, last episode. So I think that you're much better off taking. Oh, what was the one that's basically uh,
Change all damage
uh,
types.
that? Yeah, that one definitely. But also there
The
is
ultimates.
uh, the ultimates. That's the one that I was trying to come up with. Uh, I can't even remember what Tony Stark's card is that it is like, but um,
Helios laser.
it is that's it. It is the Helios laser for the Mighty Avengers. Just, I mean, this guy, as Tom pointed out, this guy's going to be swimming in power. He can really spend a lot of it on that Helios laser. That not Helios laser. Okay, well, what is everyone else's take? I guess, Brad, what do you feel about this card?
It feels good, but like you said, not good enough. Um,
Yeah.
not. I don't think it does enough unless you have a very specific plan for it to beat out some of those other cards. And who knows, there could be character cards for other characters in the faction you want to bring. Like you definitely want to bring that Pym particles.
Yeah. You know what? This card also kind of feels like it's a bit watered down from. Like, I bet that this card used to have more. Like, it used to place you further than range 1, or it used to heal you more than 2. But everyone, in playtesting, it showed way too much effect. Like,
I
it
don't
was
know.
too
It's
powerful.
it's very
Uh,
similar to that Steve Rogers card.
let's say it's very similar to Battle Plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The thing with this one is it's much like Spirit of Wakanda, where if you have the ability to put power on models to hyper accelerate them, you can get a lot out of that. And I think playing with the leadership with this card is where it's going to shine.
Okay. I have seen Spirit of Wakanda do amazing things, but also it was tough to get off in round 1 in Wakanda. largely just because it was tough to get 2 power onto somebody to be able to play it. But yeah, this is
You're talking post AR&D. With AR&D, it was very easy.
oh yeah, that's what I mean is before AR&D was removed from the game, you just did it every turn. That was the first action for anyone who's playing Wakanda.
Hey, but
But
what does Spectrum's leadership do?
it does exactly that. It does exactly what Wakanda needed to be able to do that.
Yeah, so I think there's something to this card, but I think it's gonna depend a lot on what the affiliation lists are. Because are you going to have the models that want to start turn 2 with 2 power after interacting and picking stuff up round 1? Maybe.
Maybe. Well, Brandon, what do you think about this card?
I wish it wasn't affiliated.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
That's all I have to add.
Okay.
Because I feel like everything we're saying is really shoehorning him into like the Mighty Avengers, which is fine. But I'm not sure if there's going to be much of a reason to play him outside of that. And this card being not Mighty Avengers affiliated would have been a good reason.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Okay.
correct. It would have been really fun to do this in Wakanda with Spirit of Wakanda and just have this cascade of gaining power bubbles.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta let stuff happen sometimes.
Oh my god.
I'm here
That
for the
would've been-
chaos. I don't know what you guys want from me.
That would have been wild. All right. Well, we need to give a letter grade to old Mr. Blue Marvel. So I like this character. I think he's good. I think that he brings a lot to the table. I am less impressed with him than I was with Spectrum. But I mean, he does count skulls, and I have trouble visualizing that math. And counting skulls is really powerful. I mean, we all remember what Cosmic Ghost Rider was like early on in his world. So I'm gonna give. I am going to give this gentleman an A minus. That may be too high. I'm gonna give him an A minus. That's where I landed. Okay, Brad, what would you like to give to Blue Marvel?
He definitely has a couple things holding him back. The lack of movement, the health pools, as we mentioned. He does have a really good throw. I'm gonna go B plus.
Okay, Brandon, what would you like to give to Blue Marvel?
I'm gonna take a playbook or a play out of my playbook from yesterday and go with a B minus with an asterisk. I need to know what the affiliation does. I need to know the models in the affiliation. I need to know more about the affiliation because he gets better if he is a locked-in model in his affiliation. As of the way it stands, like I'm just not sure how that's going to be because I don't see him seeing a lot of play elsewhere.
Okay, and Tom, where would you put this guy? What is he letter grade wise?
I think he's a solid B. I think he's going to be great in Mighty Avengers. If he's a defender, I think it's probably really great. If he's an Avenger, it's probably solid for him. But in Avengers, he's competing with too many other models.
Okay, all right. Well, that's where we are with Blue Marvel. Hey Brad, do you have any comic book recommendations that feature Blue Marvel?
I sure do, Fred. You know I do. I always come with the recommendations. I have three. The first one is called Adam, Legend of the Blue Marvel. This is by Kevin Griveau and Matt Broom. Blue Marvel was a big hero back in the day, like late 50s, early 60s. Big deal.
Oh,
But he
so
was
this is old.
but he was forced to retire after it was revealed that he was African American. He used to wear a mask. So now he has to come back out
Okay.
of retirement to stop a villain from back in the day that nobody's able to stop.
Huh. Okay, so this character is not from the 50s. This is just his backstory.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
If I had a nickel for every time Marvel invented a superhero from back in the day that everyone forgot, I'd have 10 cents.
You'd have 2 nickels?
I was gonna say,
But it's weird that it happened twice. Fred, who's the other character?
Hey, how much do you want to bet that I don't have the answer to that? Because you'll win.
He was in a major Marvel movie this year.
It doesn't help because I haven't seen any. Oh wait.
Was it this year?
It's this year as of recording, not as of release.
Ah, darn.
You almost had him. I don't know, man.
Century.
Oh. Okay.
Bob Reynolds. Century. He was the other character they did this with. Well, the other character people would know. They've done this a couple other times. There's a character called Astra in X-Men comics that was an original member of the Brotherhood that's not in those comics. We don't need to worry about her though. All right, second.
Okay.
Mighty Avengers 2013.
Hold on.
What?
Before we move on, that previous one was called Adam, right? It was just Adam.
Legend of the Blue Marvel.
Okay, well, I was hitting here. I wanted to make the joke that this is a comic book clearly about Frankenstein, but
No.
I didn't get there in time.
I appreciate you acknowledging that Frankenstein's name is Adam and not Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, the doctor's name is.
The doctor's name was Victor.
Not the one. Yeah, it was his surname.
I mean, you can still call the monster Frankenstein. I mean, it was his child.
I hate that.
I mean, it's true.
All right, Mighty Avengers 2013.
I need Tom around when I have these conversations more.
If you want to talk Frankenstein, man, I tried to read it this year. That's the most emo book I've ever tried to get through. That was a bunch of whiny BS.
I read Frankenstein, Dracula, and The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde like in a row. Jekyll and Hyde by far the best one of those three.
Agreed. That's a good book.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a big fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula. But
all right,
moving on. Mr. Hyde is fantastic.
Moving on. Mighty Avengers 2013, Al Ewing and Greg Land. This is the series where Spectrum and Blue Marvel are on the Mighty Avengers. Here we go. This is what the affiliation is based on. It takes place during the Hickman run on Avengers, which I've started reading, and it is awesome. And the Mighty Avengers are a team that's protecting New York City, while the main Avengers teams deals with international threats. And there's 14
so would
issues.
this be like when Spider-Man goes to England on vacation?
Spider-Man is on this team.
So he's not in London. Okay.
No. There's 14 issues. Just a warning. Al Ewing loves to write tie-in issues to big events. So like half of these are tie-in issues to big events. But Al Ewing is a great author, and you probably are not going to be disappointed with this comic. And in fact, the next recommendation I have, Ultimates and Ultimates 2. This is 2015. This is not the Ultimates from the Ultimate Universe. This is the Ultimates from the main universe. Al Ewing, Christian Ward, Kenneth Rockefort. And this is where Al Ewing takes Spectrum and Blue Marvel. He takes them with him to this new book. And this is a team of very powerful superheroes taking on threats that no one else can handle. So, like, they fight Galactus, and they have to deal with the personification of eternity in this series. And if you like it, you can follow Ewing over to his Defenders titles, where he does the same sort of story, but with magic instead of sci-fi. Okay, so those are the comics. Blue Marvel's all over those things.
Okay, well, thank you, Brad. And I guess the only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. So I got nothing. This is like Blue Marvel. I don't think he's ever been in a major Marvel movie. I could be wrong because there's lots of characters that I don't know.
He
But
was
I
played by
don't think
Forrest Whitaker.
Is that true?
No, I just made that.
Okay. Listen, you could have told me that, and you could have said in one of the several movies that I haven't seen, and you could have lied to me just then, and I would have believed you.
But
I
Fred,
would like
you
to
always
quote
know
Fred
when I
here.
lied.
I
Yeah,
never fall for Brad's lies.
I would like to quote Fred himself here. And quote
Okay,
unquote,
so
I never fall.
what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about a thing that I am enjoying quite a bit recently. I'm a little late to the train here. I'm not. I've been playing it a lot, but this is the first time I've had an opportunity to expound on the podcast. I've been playing a lot of Arc Raiders, and I very much enjoyed this game. This is it is a loot. Oh, how to describe it? There's a term
It's
for
an
it,
extraction shooter.
Extraction shooter. That's what it is. So it is you go and you collect items out in the field, and then you try to leave. And every time you try to leave, everyone knows where you are, and can come kill you and steal your items. And this game is a lot of fun.
And
It is.
Fred, quick question: how did you hear about this game, Arc Raiders?
I had never heard about it, and then I was on a car trip with a real asshole, just a real dick, and he told me all about it. No, it was Brad told me all about this game, and I started playing it, and it's a lot of fun. It is actually a ton of fun. I highly recommend that people play it. If you like playing video games, you will like it.
I like Tetris, Fred. Is this the game for me?
Yes. No, it's not at all. It can be extremely scary. If you have a lot of really good stuff and you go hit the button, your first thought is, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, someone's going to come and kill me," and then they don't, or they do, and you lose everything. But that's fine. That's part of the game. Everyone should play it. It's a lot of fun. And I think that's it for our podcast today. I want to give a special thanks to Tom for joining us today. It is always nice having you on, Tom. You have a lot of insight into this game that I do not have. And it's great to pick your brain about what is going on with the meta.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. I also want to say thank you to Steven. Hi, Steven. And I hope that you drive home safe. I want to say thank you to Brad and to Brandon for joining me today. I do always like having both of you on, even though the podcast does not even happen without Brad. It is nice to have both of you. And I want to say thank you to all of you out there who are listening to my voice. We do this because we enjoy it. We do this because we like hanging out and talking about this game that we all love. And it's just nice that there are a few people out there who like to listen. So thank you for listening. And I hope that all of you have very good games of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Goodbye, everybody.